Hey everyone, and welcome to the Hamilton Arts Awards. My name is Gavin Stevens, and I'll be the host and MC for this year's festivities. You might have seen me on CTV or the Comedy Network, possibly CBC, but I also host my own podcast called Uncolonized. Some of you might be thinking, Gavin, how come you're going into my ear holes and not in front of my eyeball places? That's because this year's award show is going to be a podcast. For those of you my age and a little bit older, a podcast is a radio play on the internet. Each episode, I'll be interviewing a winner, allowing you to get to know each and every one of these talented people. We had a lot of laughs, got to know the artists, and found out what each one of these talented people planned on doing with their award after the show. I had a great time hanging out with these people, and I hope you do as well. So without further ado, please enjoy the Hamilton Arts Awards podcast. Janet Rogers is a Mohawk Tuscarora writer from the Six Nations territory of the Grand River, where she operates the Ojitsto publishing label. Janet works in page poetry, spoken word performance poetry, video poetry, and recorded poetry with music. She is a radio broadcaster, documentary producer, and media and sound artist. Over the past 11 months, Janet has been the Mabel Pugh Taylor Artist in Residence, a joint effort with McMaster University and HPL. The Arts Awards are pleased to have commissioned a series of recordings from Janet that will appear in each episode of our podcast series.
Brave enough for books. These pages cannot be deleted. They have defeated extinction, objection, and censorship. These pages vibrate with wisdom, protective canvas waiting to be read. Authors are egoless and anonymous, but their voices are too strong to go unnoticed. Be brave enough for books.
Now please welcome Ward 1 Councillor Maureen Wilson on behalf of the City of Hamilton.
For me, arts and culture serve as both magnets and glue. Cities need both magnets and glue to thrive. And magnets are those things that attract new people, equity, companies, to renew and broaden the local pool of skills. And the glue refers to the physical and the social infrastructure that holds communities together. Arts are both magnets and glue. We're attracted, we're drawn to color, to dance, to song. It's magnetic. And once we're drawn in and rooted, it helps us stay rooted. We have a sense of togetherness, of place, of resiliency, of comfort and joy, and it helps us reflect who we are, where we're going, and how we feel. It's fundamental to cities.
What do I find is the defining characteristic of Hamilton? I agree with a lot of the award winners. I mean, there's a general lack of pretension here. The city's beautiful. People are honest. But I think for me, what makes Hamilton Hamilton is the way complete strangers will easily share their personal issues with you. I don't know how many times I've been waiting for like a light and some dude will just walk up to me, and by the time I get across the street, I know this person's family history, their medical history, and their gym locker combination. It's an amazing place to live. All that being said, I have a podcast called Uncolonized. Each week, my friend Daniel Grant and I talk about social issues, political issues, pop culture issues, and racism in Canada, and we make it funny. I know that's hard to understand, but if you listen to it, you'll get it. You can listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can get Uncolonized. Daniel Edmonds is a musician and visual artist. His artistic processes involve composition, production, and illustration. His audio and visual work display an understanding of both analog and digital techniques. He's also this week's Creative Arts Award winner.
I think I just started playing guitar as like a teenager, fell in love with like the Ramones and just I loved listening to them, and then realized my dad had a guitar, so I kind of learned how to unlatch his guitar case and then just tried to pick it up from there.
How old were you when you learned to unlatch his guitar case?
I feel like I must have been like 8 or 9 or something, so before being a teen, but yeah, pretty young.
How are you taking care of yourself during COVID? Are you okay? Is everything good?
Yep, everything's good. Trying to be healthy and remain positive and busy and just staying safe and active, that sort of stuff.
What do you miss most pre-COVID?
I mean, just going out to see an art show, going out to see a music show, um, going swimming. Like I used to go
Mhm.
swimming all the time, but the pool's closed right now. But just little things like that, seeing your friends and people.
What have you learned about yourself during this time?
I feel like I've hopefully become a bit more patient, trying to be a little bit more healthy in my habits, my
Mm.
eating habits, stuff like that. Maybe trying to be a little more self-aware of myself, stuff like that.
I mean, you're isolated from a lot of things, so yeah, it makes sense that that's something that you've learned about yourself.
Mhm.
What does this award mean to you?
Oh my gosh, it's huge. Honestly, it was very unexpected to receive the nomination. And it's validating in the sense that I sort of do this stuff just for my own pleasure and just for like, just to make it and make myself,
Mhm.
it feels nice to make things. But to have other people to be recognized and to have other people think that it's okay is just validating. It feels really good.
If you could win another one next year, would you take both of them and then, like, roll around on your bed with them, like, both medals?
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I would love that.
All right. I'm currently listening to your album, Good Fortune Assembly, while writing these questions. Does that make you nervous?
Certainly.
Okay, I'm enjoying it. Does that make you more relaxed?
Yes, that's a relief. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. What does the name Good Fortune Assembly come from?
Yeah, it was sort of just this realization because I was sort of sequencing the album after COVID hit and realizing that I had all of these amazing people and friends and peers appear on the album
Mhm.
and not taking it for granted, realizing, wow, that's pretty amazing. All of these friends and artists we're working together. It's really cool.
What are some of the themes explored in your songs?
I mean, they're pretty personal, so sometimes like love and loss and that sort of romantic things. I do tend to write about that sometimes, but um, I don't know. Sometimes I'll be reading and find a passage I really like, and then just write down the passage, and that will turn into a song.
I asked that question because I read your website bio of the album, and it's just like it feels like the album has a theme. Am I wrong on that? Or
Again, with the title, it sort of has to do with community, involving your friends in your process, and sort of leaning on your peers to sort of help you when you need guidance,
Mhm.
something like that. There have been some mentors in my life that have helped me with my music.
Who are some of the people that influenced you, that helped you out and influenced you?
Someone like Tom Wilson, yeah, he's amazing, and was lucky enough to play in a band with his son Thompson. So we played together for 8 years, and he mentored us as teenagers as how to be just better musicians and better artists. And so definitely Tom. And my friend Luca, who appears on this album, has been a mentor to me.
How important is experimentation for you in your art?
I think it's very important. I think if I try and force myself to make something, it'll be mediocre. And then if I will do something accidentally, it will be really cool.
A lot of the artists I interview, they go out to do something and then discover something else, like another aspect to their art.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So the accidental nature of it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just letting things happen and trying not to be too critical of when things don't work out, when ideas don't pan out. But yeah, I feel like usually if you just sort of remain in a space of being open and letting accidents happen, that can sort of lead to better work or more interesting work.
That's a very mature way to look at things, to be able to be patient with, making mistakes and stuff. How long did you have that, like that kind of perspective?
I think maybe just recently, like the past year. I mean, just from making mistakes with music. Like I guess previously, maybe I would have really tried to form like a sound all by myself. And recently I've realized it's just so much better to make things with friends, and it turns out so much better that way. So
Does it make you nervous when you're like, I guess, experimenting? I don't know the best way to say this, but you're experimenting and you don't know the end result, and like the reception to that. Does that make you nervous? Like how people are going to receive the end result of that experimentation?
yeah, I mean, to an extent, yes. But hopefully it's all done with, the intention is to make something that's hopefully joyful, hopefully fun, not too serious. And so, hopefully it comes across that it's not too serious.
Like you're saying, you seem to thrive collaboratively. Who do you feel you work with the best?
That's a good question. I've been working with my two friends from Toronto who are in a band called BART. They have a few records out on this label called E-Day Fix. We work really well together. It sort of has become like a triangle working with them. And usually it's just nice to not have to do everything yourself. So yeah, those are probably my two like very close collaborators. And then I have so many friends who play on my records. Like my friend Jason plays drums on my albums, and very good pals that contribute.
This is your second album, correct?
Yeah, this is my second full length, and then I put out one sort of shorter EP style thing a long time ago. Yeah.
What was the first album where you learned that like it's easier to work collaboratively, or was it this one?
It was probably the first full length, so the one before this called Softy, where that album came about. We booked some studio time in Toronto, and I sort of invited my close group of friends, and we just sort of made most of that music together in the studio without having planned it too much. And that one turned out really special, and so that may have been the starting point of this new sort of direction.
How does your creative process work collaboratively when you're like it's a group of you working together? How does that, like, do you just jam or something, or
Yeah, we will. It usually works like we'll book a chunk of time. So rather than just getting together once, we'll book maybe 5 days where everyone gets together. Because I found usually like the first couple days can be hit and miss. We're still setting up and finding a sound. So yeah, usually we'll get together for a group for like a week, and then after a day or two, things start to take shape.
so I guess it's a long process.
Yeah,
But it sounds like it's a long party in a way. Like it's you're with your friends, you guys are
yeah.
having, yeah, and you're being creative, and that's where the best stuff comes out of.
Yes, yes. It's 100% enjoyable.
How does the Hamilton music scene? Has it made it easy for you to collaborate?
When I finished university, I moved back home, and there was a gallery on Barton just off of James Street called Haven, which is it's an acronym for Hamilton Audiovisual Node. Just from going to that gallery, meeting sort of everyone who made work there, that's sort of how I met the people I work with today. Yeah, it was just from going to shows at Haven, and the scene's pretty incredible. It's pretty diverse.
Everyone I've interviewed loves the scene, and in fact, they miss the scene. Like it seems like it's very important. It's like a lifeblood for people. But yeah, yeah, and everyone, like you're also a visual artist. You said, where do you have your work anywhere, or is it just?
You know what? It's funny. Just from being home nonstop, I just started from being home.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
when I was a little kid, both my parents went to OCAD, and so when I was a little kid, that's all I wanted was to go to OCAD, like school. And then as a teenager, I just I just said no to that and decided to do music. So just recently, I'm coming back to this passion for making art, and it's been really nice.
You have it displayed on Instagram. I'm guessing galleries at this point is like they're not open.
Yeah. So I just show my work on Instagram, and I mean, I'm just sort of starting out, to tell you the truth, but I really enjoy it. It's really fun.
That seems to be your strength. Is like when you're having fun, you're relaxed and it flows. So I asked that question because it seems like every artist in Hamilton that I've interviewed, they work in different disciplines. Like they're all doing a million things. Why do you think that is?
I mean, especially now, I feel like there really are no boundaries in terms of what you're supposed to do or what you're allowed to do, you know. So no one's telling me I only have to make music, that sort of. So it's just it feels freeing to make visual art, and it's also just a nice break from other things. I find if I get a little bit exhausted from working on music, I'll start drawing and painting, and it's just refreshing. So maybe that has something to do with it too, just finding a balance of work.
What do you find is the defining characteristic of Hamilton?
Ooh, I would say maybe a certain grit, and I think there's zero pretension in the city, and there's a beauty in that too. But it changes, it's always changing, so it's hard to pinpoint.
Does those things influence your work at all, or?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I think it does. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what it would be, but I know like my first album definitely drew on sort of the cityscape a little bit more. The things I had maybe experienced, I would write about. And so I think it does for sure. I love the city. It's so beautiful. So definitely.
This is my final question for you. Did I do a good job interviewing you?
Absolutely. This is the best
Thank you.
interview I've ever done.
And from now on, it will be the best. You'll do Rolling Stone and everything else. This one will be the best one. I guarantee it. Thank you for doing this interview. I really enjoyed your album. I haven't listened to your first one yet. I will, but I enjoy your work. So yeah, thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
And congratulations on the win. It's well deserved.
Thank you so much.
And that's episode 4. I hope you had a good time listening to me interview Dan Edmonds. He's a very interesting dude. The music in today's episode was by Paulo Reyes, Terra Lightfoot, Dylan Hudecki, and Aline Felice. Illustrations by Meredith W. Park, Michael Byers, and Robyn Lightwalker. The City of Hamilton Arts Awards are presented during Arts Week, June 3rd to the 12th. To learn more about Arts Week or the Save the Arts campaign, visit hamiltonartscouncil.ca. Stay tuned for our next episode tomorrow at 7 p.m. Production by Cobalt Connects, LILT Films, and me, Gavin Stevens.